Welcome to Hike Over the Hill. I'm Jedi, coming to you from the thriving metropolis of Rochester, New York. And today I have a very special guest. But first, I just want to say to all of you who watch my videos during my thru hike and subscribe to my channel, thank you so much. It was so cool to know that people were watching, and that's really what kept me motivated, to be able to shoot new footage and take photos and share it with you. So the fact that you took the time to watch my videos was really an integral part of my hike. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And those of you who bought me beers along the way, double thank you to you. That's another huge motivator for while I was out on the trail. It's been a long time since I posted a video. As you know, I ended my hike on November 8th, and here we are in March already. And I've been recuperating. I've been doing things around the house. I've been, looking for a job, things like that. So it's been busy, but it took me a while to recuperate. Now my joints are finally feeling back to normal for the most part. So, but today I wanted to introduce you to a special guest, my first guest on the podcast, as I'm sort of handing the baton over. Welcome to my guest, Ultra. Okay, I had to deal with our dog. He was a little anxious there, barking, but
he's jealous.
So welcome to Ultra here, also known as my wife. You're gonna hike the Appalachian Trail now.
I am. In a few short weeks.
When are you going to start? Not specifically, but like what month are you starting?
I'm starting in April.
Starting in April? Yeah. Where are you starting?
I'm going to start from Rockfish Gap. I hear it's a great place to start.
That sounds familiar.
Virginia.
Yeah. So you're all set with your gear and whatnot?
I am. I have a wonderful coach and mentor and packing list developer. But I am all set with my gear. It took a lot of, trial and error, as you know, with certain things. And I went on my last, a shakedown, but just a day hike today. And everything felt good. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pack and get out of here. No
awesome.
offense.
So you're starting Rockfish Gap in April.
Yes.
And so you're doing a flip-flop?
I am doing a flip-flop. I like the aspect of having more time. No pressure to make it to Katahdin in a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. And also I'm looking forward to seeing the Smokies in the fall. I hope I see some fall color in the south. And I'm going to take my sweet time out there. So.
I can't blame you. So you watched my videos, obviously,
yes.
along the way. And will you be shooting videos and taking photos along the way?
I am going to be shooting videos and taking photos. What I will not be doing
That's our dog making noise in the background.
Yes, he's nesting over here.
He's a little anxious with his bed. Simmer down. Lay down.
Good boy. Lay down.
Good boy. Okay. As you were saying,
I will be shooting video and photos. What I won't be doing is editing those because I have you to do that from the home front. So I'm most appreciative of that.
I'm going to do my best. It's time consuming, but hopefully doing it on a laptop computer will be a lot easier than doing it on the phone when you're sitting in a hostel and you're trying to recuperate, get some rest. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. So gear-wise, you think you've got everything all set? All your gear?
I do have everything all set. And I guess my friends and family that have wanted to follow are interested in a gear video. So I am hoping to do a short one showing specifically what I have. Maybe some things that might be different between yours and mine if people are interested. And one of my friends specifically asked about the little tiny containers and little ditties that you have, and I don't know, it is interesting, especially if you're not familiar with backpacking. And let's face it, gear is fun, right? So I'm going to try to do a gear video before I go.
You can become addicted to gear and just become a little too gear happy. I know we've bought and rebought things several times over in some cases. You think you know that a piece of gear is going to be right for you, then you buy it and you go, it wasn't quite right, I want to get something else, and pretty soon you're spending way more than you ever planned.
Yes.
So
I'm very grateful for REI's return policy.
REI, great resource. And,
Amazon's try before you buy.
Yeah, and everyone complains, REI is so expensive, but you can buy stuff on sale all the time, obviously. Plus, as a member, you get a kickback, the 10% reward, or dividend, I guess they call it. Mm-hmm. If you use their credit card, you get another 5%. You can get things at their outlet store, the outlet sale. You can get garage stuff that's been lightly used. I've bought a few things. My Ursack I bought used. My REI rain jacket I bought used. I think my rain mitts were used. I bought a Helinox chair, which I didn't take on the AET, but bought a Helinox chair used, and so you can get some things that are in really good shape, almost like new there, for pretty good prices if you just are a little selective, a little savvy about it. So, do you feel like you're physically prepared for the trail?
I may have to look back and regret this statement, but I do feel very physically prepared for the trail.
Okay, and why would that be?
That would be because this past November, so basically all of last year, I was training for a 100-mile ultra marathon that I went to Texas this past November to the Dinosaur Valley. Shout out, it's a wonderful event. Dinosaurs roamed. I saw dinosaur footprints. It's a great event. I attempted the 100-mile race. I did not make all 100 miles. I did make 68 miles. So
Over
I raced
2/3.
2/3, and it was the furthest I've ever run. And the biggest part, I felt great the whole way. I simply ran out of time because of some challenges on my last 10 or so miles, but I felt great and I recovered well, so why not? But that was one day, and this is several days.
The good news is you don't have to run the Appalachian Trail. The bad news is you've got to carry about 30 pounds of stuff on your back.
Yes.
So, and you got to find your water along the way, and you got to find a place to go potty, and you got to sleep outside, and so on.
Yes.
So, do you feel like watching my videos helped to prepare you psychologically, emotionally, physically, or anything else?
Yes. Your videos, along with, I do follow some other YouTube videos. I appreciated your videos because I could tell, because we're married, when you were kind of speaking to me. And I took that to heart, specifically about following the white blazes. When you got turned around, if you did, then I know that I have to be extra careful out there.
That's true. Not the greatest sense of direction, necessarily. If it weren't for GPS, I'd be worried. I'd be like, oh boy, she's going to wind up in Arkansas or something.
Yeah.
I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas. No, that's the wrong Hot Springs, honey.
Right. No, I'll be fine. I have the GPS and thousands, tens of thousands of white blazes, and hopefully I will not have an issue. And if I do, I will learn from it.
Let's see. So, any concerns going on the trail as a woman by herself? Anything you're worried about? I know a lot of people you've told have been like, "Oh my God, you're doing it by yourself? You're kidding."
Yes.
So, what's your thoughts on that?
I do have some. Fear might be a little strong, or concerns, but new experiences. I'm simply not used to sleeping out in a tent by myself. I did do a couple nights on the Appalachian Trail this past fall with my friend Jenny, so I was with her. However, it was my first time really without you backpacking. I forgot a tent pole, so that was a minus, but I did MacGyver the situation and had success, so that was a plus. A solo female hiker, there's always concerns. Bears.
Well, bears.
Snakes.
You don't have to be female to have a bear problem. As you saw from one of my videos, bears don't care what sex you are, gender.
Yeah.
Your
typical human animal. However, I feel like a lot of common sense is in place, and I am not going to let that stop me. I think 99.99% of the people on the trail are wonderful, and I'm not going to let that stop me.
That might be a little generous, but okay.
I don't know.
Maybe it's more like 90%.
Are not out to harm you intentionally.
99% maybe.
Right.
99.9% is a little generous.
And I also think people maybe that aren't familiar with the Appalachian Trail or through hiking in general may misunderstand. I am not out blazing unknown territory where I'm out in the wilderness for weeks on end, and there are towns and many people. I would prefer to be able to camp near others and enjoy my solitude during the day hiking. So, and if I sleep alone, that's the way it goes.
Like George Thorogood saying, right? I sleep alone. No, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's a different thing.
You may be drinking alone too on the Appalachian Trail, but
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. So how are you going to? You said there's some concerns as a female hiker out there. Do you have any self-defense things or any? Have you prepared in that regard?
I'm sensitive to answer because I definitely don't want to be, I guess, what's called a fear monger or perpetuate fear. But for me personally, what made me feel a little better, or actually a lot better, I had a 8-hour, or more like 9 or 10 hour, I think, full day personal defense course locally here in Rochester, and it was women only. It was called the Women's Equalizer, and it was very helpful. Situational awareness, which I think is important for hikers regardless, because there are things on the trail you have to be watching and listening for your personal safety.
Yep.
And also some physical, general self-defense. I mean, I had taken it before. It had been years. And, so I feel better personally. That may not be for everyone, but it really helped me feel empowered. And I think I could hold my own against your average jerk. Kick some butt for sure.
Okay, so it sounds like you're prepared as far as self-defense goes, and knowledge, and being prepared in that sense. Are you bringing any self-defense items with you?
I am going
shotgun?
No, I'm
hatchet.
Not bringing a gun
machete?
Or a hatchet. I was
nunchucks.
Actually asked
nunchucks.
if I was bringing a
You're bringing
hatchet.
Nunchucks, aren't you? No nunchucks? Okay.
No, too heavy.
Blackjack?
Too heavy.
Blackjack?
No.
Rocket launcher?
No.
No. Brass knuckles?
No.
No.
I am bringing
a scourge.
No.
Biblical scourge? No? Okay.
No.
Sorry.
I am bringing, well, number one, this isn't for defense, but just I am bringing my Garmin InReach Mini 2, which will make me feel better, that you will know where I am at least 3 times a day, if not longer, and I have an SOS button if something really bad, injury-wise or safety-wise, occurs. So that is my number one, and that's very common on the trail, that or a similar device people carry. Defense-wise, I do have I don't know if I should be saying this because I don't know if it's legal, but I have a small pepper spray that I carry, and it will be next to me at night. I have a safety whistle on my pack, again, for purposes of injury.
I had a safety whistle.
Yes, I think
I never used it,
most
but I had
hikers
one.
should. And
that's good for bears too, scaring off.
Right.
I wish I had had my whistle with me when I had the bear situation. That might
Yes.
have helped scare off the bear.
So
but
that is
it was
one-
tied to my pack, so I told her,
yes,
use a carabiner so you can get it off your pack quick if you need to.
yes. So that safety whistle is the nice, like, slim, light. I have
Super
for
small.
car camping or whenever a large marine whistle that I think could blow out someone's eardrums if I were to
The
blow
one
it.
on our pack, it's about smaller than a domino, really.
Very light. And I did put it on a
Couple sticks of gum.
carabiner, and I'll be taking it off my pack at night and putting it near me. And then I do also have a neck knife. It's very light, and you just wear it around. But I mean, that's good for many things. Cutting food,
Cutting
or pepperoni, or if
People.
whatever. It makes me feel more safe having it.
So
So
it feels safe.
that's what
So
I'm
that-
doing.
Wow, sounds like you got it all covered there.
Hopefully so. Yes.
Yeah. So are you hiking straight through? Are you going to take breaks like I did? Well, how's that going to go?
I am not hiking straight through. I'm definitely taking breaks like you did, probably a little bit more, because we have a very happy occasion in May. We have one of my best friends is getting married, a destination wedding. So rough life. I'm going to be leaving trail for about 10 days to go for a week to Cabo San Lucas to an all-inclusive resort. And then I will go back to the woods.
I hear the officiant's a real tool, though. Wedding officiant.
Yeah, it's going to be a real bummer.
Pain in the butt, that guy.
It's him. So looking forward to that. And then once I make it to Katahdin, I will somehow be making my way back home for another week. Hopefully make it to Katahdin and need a week off after that to come home and see Jedi.
Oh!
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Jedi. Come home and see Jedi.
And Barley.
And Barley, the wonder dog.
Barley the Wonder Dog. Yes.
Tripod. So how you feeling about resupplying on the trail? How that's all going to go?
I feel really good about it because I have you again, similar to
Right.
what I did last year.
I'm not your personal shopper. I'm not going to show up at Walmart and be like, let's go shopping.
Oh, resupplying on the trail. Well, I have boxes here that you will be mailing me with my dinners, similar to how we did for your hike.
Similar
And you
to
did
what I
go
did.
over all of that before.
In fact, the exact same boxes, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Same idea. Where they're all laid out, and we'll have to shoot a little video, take some pictures. They're all laid out on a table in the basement. They're numbered because Why is it important that we send them in the right order?
Yes, important they go in the right order because I am going to feel a little lost without books out on the trail. So I am bringing a book in pieces, and
Pieces. Rest in pieces.
yes, rest in pieces. I will be reading The Count of Monte Cristo finally, because it's a big fat book, and it should last me the whole, pretty much the whole way, 40 pages at a time. So each box has sequential pages in it. So.
Yeah, and it would be confusing to read it out of order. So.
Yeah.
I read the book Dune on the trail. That was only about 660 pages, I think, with all the appendixes and epilogues and all that stuff. How long is The Count of Monte Cristo?
It's at least 1,200. Yeah, it might be more.
It's twice as long.
It's pretty small. I mean, it was a mass market paperback, so small print. So
got the magnifying glass out there. Woo.
Yeah.
So have you been following other people who are already out there right now?
I am following a few different people, but my two most faithfully followed people are, number one is Wedge, who is hiking north from Springer to Katahdin, and he and his wife, Trail Magic Cindy, if I get that name wrong, I'm sorry. They did Trail Magic a lot, and in fact hosted you twice last year, correct?
Yeah, he's the only Trail Magic I ran into twice.
Yeah.
And so I was surprised. And Wedge, hi if you're watching. He said, "Oh, I watched all your videos," because we were chatting, and I said, "Yeah, I'm doing a YouTube thing. It's my first time." So he didn't say he was going to watch it, and he never commented on my channel, so I didn't know that he was watching. But then afterwards, he said, "Oh, my wife and I watched all your videos," and I was like, "Wow, that was pretty cool." So I'm trying to watch his videos as well.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying watching those as well. I know I believe his wife is editing most of those from home and posting, so I do enjoy watching those. So hi, Wedge, you're doing great. Thanks for all the tips while you're out there. And then the second hiker I am following is Lucky P on the AT. A friend I connected with, she is also a flip-flopper. She started from Damascus, and she started early. She's been out there almost a month right now, so she's doing great as well. And I'm hoping, if our mileage aligns, that she will perhaps be caught up to me or close by the time I start, but we'll see. But we're at least in communication. There's a few other women flip-floppers. We're all starting from different points at different times, but we have connected, so it's fun to watch and keep track of folks on social media.
Awesome. Who else have you been in contact with? Anyone else?
Who else have I been in contact with?
Texting? Any bloggers?
Oh, my friend. Yes, my friend Serendipity Dips. She is class of 21, and she has been a wonderful mentor. And actually finding her blog, I'd seen an article online when she finished and found her blog that way, read the whole thing within a couple of days. And I never do this, but I reached out to her. Her writing is amazing, and she's a wonderful writer and very inspirational, and it's very supportive. I went and saw her speak at the AT Museum last summer, and that's actually where I met my friend Jenny. And
you ran into another
YouTuber
there.
YouTuber Heather Anderson, the first woman to hike the Triple Crown in calendar
year. Another YouTuber.
Oh my gosh, yes, Jay wanders out. I met Jay. I walked into the Iron Masters. Hi, Jay. I don't know if he'll be watching.
You never caught up to me. I thought you might catch up to me because I'm slow, but I guess you're just as slow as I am. But you summited Katahdin about 2 weeks after I did, so you're close, but not close.
Yes, I watched Jay last year.
And I wasn't going to wait for you, so.
So yes, I ran into Jay at Iron Masters, which was a great, fun surprise.
Jay's YouTube channel, Jay Wanders Out.
Jay Wanders Out.
So in case you're wondering, I think he's full-time YouTuber, so he does way better than I do. He's got professional equipment, cameras, and microphones and stuff, and I can't be bothered with that. I'm like, no, I can't. So anyway, so you're looking forward to getting nervous now? It's 2 weeks. We leave 2 weeks from today, I believe.
Yeah, nervous. Not really nervous. It's more surreal. It's very bizarre. I'm still working full time for 2 more weeks. Right up till the end.
Like 48 hours before we leave, pretty much.
Yes. So that is very disorienting. I've been working most of my life. This is very odd. So
you'll be working on the trail, just
yes,
in a different way.
Yeah.
Your office has a great view. That's all I can say.
It's an office and a school.
Office and a school. That's right. Trial by fire out there.
Yeah.
So you do you have any like game plan in your mind? Like this is how I'm going to approach it. Like I'm gonna like break it up into 1 week segments, or I'm just gonna wing it the whole way, or I'm gonna find someone else out there and we're gonna collaborate and hopefully go the whole way together. Have you thought about that, or are you just kind of like I can't even think that far ahead?
That is tough. It's definitely a balance. I feel that you have to. For me, I have to plan because it's real out there, right? Safety, food, water, shelter. You have to plan. You have to know what you're going to do. You have to have a plan B and C and D if the weather changes, whatever.
Yes, the Appalachian Trail is real, just in case you're wondering.
I mean, you know how they say real? It's real out there. Like
She just said a potty word. I just had to bleep her. Sorry, kids. Okay, go ahead.
So there's definitely a balance.
Swears like a sailor.
But mentally,
potty mouth. That should be your trail name. Potty mouth.
No. Mentally, how I am approaching it is in small chunks. Well, yes, I do have my eye on the prize. Like the only way home is over Springer Mountain because I'm flip-flopping. So I will be finishing southbound. However, mentally, I need to break it up into my resupply. Like when I get out of, I have to hike 50 miles this week. I can do that to make it to this town, and then I'm going to go to the next town and the next town. So that aspect is fairly similar to ultra running, because similarly how I cannot wrap my head around even running. I'm not kidding, on a deal 10 miles, right? You go out for a run, 10 miles, overwhelming, but you just 1 mile at a time, then 1 step at a time, whatever it takes. So hopefully that'll help me out there. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but
you mentioned ultra running. Is that how you got your trail name?
Why, yes, it is.
Wow.
Ultra.
What a coincidence.
That is confusing because of the shoe Ultra with an A. So I think my formal trail name is Ultra with a U, because that's how I have to explain it to people. Because the minute I've met a few people and said, "Hi, I'm Ultra," and they look at my feet. And I'm like, no, Ultra with a U.
I met a hiker at the, something pond. It was right before the last shelter before Mahoosuc Notch. Full Goose Pond, or Full Goose Shelter, I think it's called. Anyway, her name was Speed Goat, and I immediately looked at her shoes too, because Hoka makes a shoe called Speed Goats, and I said, "Oh, you're not wearing Speed Goats?" She goes, "No, I just got the name because I hike uphill fast or whatever." So anyway, you're gonna have that issue. So do you have any like little things you're bringing on the trail to share with other hikers or anything like that, or like I had the little tattoos I shared on the trail. Should have brought one. Well, we can go get one and show it to you now.
Watch this. Editing.
Okay, so you've got a little something you're going to be carrying with you and handing them out?
Yes, I am. I'm going to hand them out to other hikers of the Appalachian Trail 2023.
Appalachian Trail, class of 2023.
And they're holographic. I don't know if this is
holographic,
working.
Yeah, it's kind of a you get the little color rainbow effect and kind of silvery rainbow effect. So how many of those do you have altogether?
500?
500.
So I hope to make 500 friends.
I had 1,000 tattoos, and I still have probably 200 of them left, so I thought that's too many. But 500, you'll get rid of those easily, because these will be a hot commodity. People put these on their phone case, their battery pack, their cold soak container, their trekking pole, their whatever they want. Water bottles, really cool little memento. So you've seen it here first. This is going to be the hot commodity on the trail. I'm telling you, I wish I had them last year. She's going to be known as a sticker lady. So any other thoughts you want to share? Say anything to other people who are starting this year, or maybe people thinking about doing the trail next year or sometime in the future? Anything, words of wisdom or any thoughts?
As someone who hasn't started yet, I don't know how much practical advice I have, but for people that are out there right now, I want to say I look forward to meeting you, and I hope our paths cross. Being a flip-flopper, I'm not sure, but that's kind of cool, because I'll see different people depending what direction I'm going. And for the people that have been out there already, whether you were on YouTube, a blogger, a personal friend that has given me advice, a Jedi that has given me great advice, I want to say thank you and keep doing what you do, because people are listening and watching, even if they don't comment or let you know. And I hope that as I hike, if I can, inspire is a little strong word, but if I can give anybody the courage or motivation to get out there, even if it's a section hike or whatever, I hope that I can do that for somebody, because many people have done that for me. So that would be pretty awesome.
All right. Do you have any like major fear going into this? Like, what's your big thing that's like, oh boy, this is the one thing I'm dreading when I get out there? Could be anything.
Fear's a little strong. I really don't.
A worry,
feel
a concern,
fearful.
like, oh boy, I'm worried I'll get lost, or I'm worried about the bears, or I'm worried I'm gonna, not be able to figure out the resupplying, or I'm worried about being wet and cold, or
Oh yeah.
my gear failing, whatever. Like the one thing that's like
the wet and cold,
haunting your dreams.
I don't know what's haunting me. Yeah, the resupply is challenging. The logistics of I said I'm gonna focus get to town, and then obviously you have shown me like things that worked for you to figure out the next however many days and resupply. But I do know that I'll have my own way. I'll find my own way, and then it'll take a couple, however long, to become a habit, and then it won't even be a worry anymore or a concern. So I'm looking forward to learning that stuff.
Yeah, so just while I'm thinking, so anybody who hasn't started yet, who's doing it this year or maybe in the future, the logistical aspect is challenging for a lot of people. And some people, I met some people who, I met one hiker, he says, I'm just going to carry 3 days worth of food and that's it. He goes, I'm tired of all this planning and trying to figure it out. I'm like, well, what happens if you wind up more than 3 days away from food? He goes, I'll just figure it out. And I'm like, okay, isn't it better to plan ahead? Anyway, I'm a planner. That to me is, part of the fun of it is figuring all the logistics out, kind of plotting it out and doing it in my head and kind of visualizing it all. To me, that comes easy. Other people, it's just really stressful, and it really. I think some people actually probably throw in the towel. They just can't deal with all that uncertainty and trying to figure it out, and then getting it wrong, and then being hungry or not having the right supplies and stuff. So definitely, that's a huge challenge. I don't know what else to say about that other than just do as much planning as you can, and then also talk to all the other hikers, because everyone's in the same boat you are. So always be picking people's brain. Hey, where are you stopping next? Hey, where are you going to get your next resupply? You just, people like to talk about it and just kind of brainstorm together and pick people's brains. And I did that a lot. And a few times I found out, oh, there's a town. I said, I know there's a road crossing, but I didn't see the town. Oh yeah, no, you can get a free shuttle, or you can go off the trail and there's a convenience store here or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, so I would sometimes change my plans on the fly and buy some food that I wasn't expecting along the way. So there's lots of little surprise opportunities like that along the way.
I know this is shocking, but I am not a great planner. Logistics are challenging to me. So, like I said in the beginning, I think for me it's about the balance between planning enough to stay safe, and also it's a fun journey, and I want to be flexible enough, first of all, to have a plan A, plan B, so I don't mentally spiral if something doesn't work out the way I've planned, right? That's something I look forward to learning and kind of go with the flow, but also know I'm going to be safe and have food and water. So it's going to be a balancing act.
Yeah, everyone's different. So obviously people are going to do it different ways, and there's no one right way to do it necessarily. Like I said, that's one place we're opposites. I'm a huge planner. I like to know exactly what I'm going to do, going in. Even if I change my plan, at least I like to have that in my pocket. Like, okay, I know that this is the plan, and if things go awry, okay, I can modify as I go. But, we plan our vacations pretty much down to the hour. Okay, this day at 10 a.m. we got to be here to do this, and we're going to be there for 3 hours, and then we're going to get a ride over to this place, and we're going to, we pack in our vacations pretty good. And we have friends who are like, well, we just figure it out when we get there. They get their tickets, they fly somewhere, they got their hotel room, then they figure out what they're going to do while they're on vacation, which I could never do. That would drive me insane. But
at the same time, though, if we get somewhere, like you said you did on the trail, if there's a cool thing that we haven't seen or heard of, we'll be like, hey, we're going to go do this. So
I mean, I don't want to imply that, like, I was rigid But I like to say, okay,
Yeah.
this is my plan for the next 7 days. I'm going to go to this shelter. Then I'm going to go to this campsite. Then I'm going to go here, yada, yada, until I get to such and such a town, go to this hostel. Okay, but then things would happen along the way, and you'd have to change. Maybe your foot hurt and you didn't get as far as you thought, or the train was easier than you thought and you got farther than you thought. Or, hey, someone else said, hey, I'm going to get off trail. I got a shuttle going into this town. You want to come join me? And you go, oh, I wasn't planning on, but sure. Well, so you got to be flexible like that. But it's always good to have a plan going in. And I would have what I called my main plan. Each day I had my plan. I'm going to this shelter or this campsite. And then I'd have what I called my short plan and my long plan. My short plan was if I can't make it that far, I got to, the weather turns bad or it's harder than I thought, I'm not making the kind of progress or whatever, where am I going to fall back to? 2, 3, 4 miles short of my original plan. And then I had my long plan. Hey, the weather's great. I'm feeling great. I'm flying along. It's early in the day. It's only 3 in the afternoon. I'm already at the place I planned to be. I got another 3 hours of daylight. Why don't I keep going and pick up another 3, 4, 5 miles or whatever? So I had my long plan. So I always knew, okay, if I don't make it here, I can fall back here. Or if I make it there early, I can keep going and make it to the next spot. So just some things to think about. You want to have a plan, but you don't necessarily, want to stick to that rigidly and say, well, I have to do this because that's what my plan was. I did meet a lot of hikers, and I'd ask them, so where are you headed today? They'd be like, I don't know. I'm just going to see where I am around 4 or 5 o'clock and then just kind of figure it out. So I'm like, oh my God, my head wanted to explode whenever I heard that. But that's how some people do it. What are you going to do? Whatever works for you. So any final thoughts to share before we sign off here?
No, I'm just really excited to get this started and really to see what happens. It's
That's
an
right.
adventure, first and foremost. Looking forward to it.
An adventure first and foremost. Well, there you have it. Ultra heading out on the trail. Oh, last thing before I forget. How can people follow you?
Yes, people can follow me, well, first of all, on this channel, Hike Over the Hill on YouTube, and on Instagram, I am at Hike Over the Hill, and then also on Facebook, I'll let you guess what it is, Hike Over the Hill. So there's Hike Over the Hill, if you remember that, whatever platform you're on.
Yep.
Except TikTok.
And we also have the domain name Hike Over the Hill, so you could always go there. But all that does right now is forward you to our YouTube channel. So we don't actually have a website set up, but might do that sometime in the future. But right now it's just all about the YouTube and the Instagram, and she's on Facebook with it and so on. So you'll find her. Or, just stay here, just subscribe here, and you'll be able to follow her along. And she'll be shooting the videos. I'll be editing the videos, and sometime hopefully late April, the latter half of April, I'll start posting the videos. We'll see how I do. I'll try to do daily videos, but it just depends on what I've got going on and if I'm working and got to get ready for this wedding and we're going to be out of town for a week and so on. So I'll try to plan things out.
You got to support me.
Yeah, I gotta support her, send her packages and deal with the dog and all that stuff.
And that's one thing too you had asked me about. So the social media thing, that for me is something, I think you talked about this on one of your videos, like why are you doing this YouTube? And it really, especially after watching your videos, I felt the need for myself to memorialize or document the hike and look back on this. So mainly doing it for myself, but it's great to be able to share it with people. I've had so many people that asked and wanted to follow, and so that's why I kind of went out there with the social media aspect too. So
yeah, I mean that's why I started it. It was just for friends and family initially. It was just like just so you can follow along with me and you get some peace of mind. Oh, he looks okay. He's lost some weight, but he's in good spirits and all that kind of stuff. And then other people started following it, so that was cool. I didn't really care if anyone else followed it, but I thought it was kind of cool. There's people around the world now watching the channel, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. But I don't do the Instagram and the Facebook stuff so much, so it was just about the channel. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Do you have any motivating things on the trail? Like for me, I carried some of my dad's ashes, so my motivating factor was carrying them to Katahdin, burying half of them up there, and then getting the other half down to Springer. So it was always that was always my thing. Like I got to do this. I've told everyone I'm going to do this, so I have to do this, or I'm going to feel like a schmuck if I don't do it. Obviously, you can get injured and things are beyond your control. But that was like my motivating factor, seeing that little canister of my dad's ashes every day, being like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And also having the channel and having people following me, knowing there's people watching me, and they're expecting me to keep going. I can't quit. So, do you have anything like that that's going to keep you going when the time gets tough, when the going gets tough, or the tough going to get
my
going?
why, that's actually a point of my stress, because I do not have currently, or haven't really thought to write down some thoughts on my specific why. It's nothing as compelling as appearance ashes. However, I will look forward to saying hello to my father-in-law and his where he is on the trail, and thinking of him for sure, and my own parents who aren't with us, and basically that. But I think for me, it's something I had wanted to do, and just really never envisioned having the opportunity to do this, especially at my age. And I figured, well, that was something you should do between college and getting a job, and never. So there's definitely a why. I just haven't put it into words yet. But I am not carrying anyone's ashes. I am going to be wearing, I don't have it on now, but I have a bracelet that I wore when you left on your hike, and it was had an AT stamp on it, and it said a part, not apart, meaning that I was a part of his hike even though we were apart. And it's a little bit cheesy, but it made me feel comforted, like we were doing it together. Of course, you were doing all the work, but so I have that, and I'll be wearing that. And
I had a hard job, but you had an important job, so.
I had an important job as well, and I really think, so many people are like, is Jedi going with you? No, he's dropping me off. Why aren't you doing it together? And it dawned on me actually just today on my way home from my hike that we are doing it together. It's just not in the same space, because I know, it's hard with the dog and the house and everything to be able to be out there. And the resupply is a frosting on the cake. I mean, people do it without people shipping them boxes, but it's so much easier. But like the life stuff is not as easy. So
it's like being an astronaut. You need the guys at ground control, the guys and women at ground control, or at Houston, keeping things going. Otherwise, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, some people do it by themselves. Obviously, you don't need someone at home, but you can do your whole trip on the trail as far as resupply and stuff. And some people do. It just makes it a lot easier when someone can send you some of the things you need along the way. Those little things that kind of keep you going. That's a motivating factor. Having those meals, those meals from home when everyone else is eating, cold tuna fish on a, burrito wrap, or ramen noodles for the 15th time in a row, and then you're getting this nice home assembled. Of course, she did the same thing that I did, right?
It was in December.
Took the backpacking meals and divided them up, and then added things to them and kind of give them a little pizzazz.
Another newsflash: I am motivated by food. For those that know me.
Are you going to weigh yourself before you start, like I did, and then see how much you lose along the way?
Well, I am going to weigh myself, only because that's the only way I can know how much my pack weighs, and I am curious about that. Yeah. So, but
most hostels have a scale, so you can. I wish I'd started weighing myself earlier on along the way. Later on, I started, whenever I saw a scale, I'd be like, how much do I weigh? But it's a good indicator. Are you losing too much weight, not enough weight?
I'm not going to have that problem. I've heard it's different for women and men, obviously.
Yeah. I haven't figured that out.
I kind of go by how I feel. I can, again, running versus hiking, but I can tell if I need to eat. Basically, in a bad mood, have some food. That's how I go, because so much like blood sugar and that type of thing, and it really can turn your, like, buttered noodles can turn your world around in a pinch. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the food thing was weird. I mean, I never got fully on the hiker hunger that people talk about. At least I didn't feel like I did. I mean, I could eat more than usual, but I wasn't like famished. It wasn't like, oh my god, I'm starving all the time. But I could get to town and be like, oh, I think I'll have a pizza, and I'd eat the whole pizza. And then I'd have a pint of ice cream on top of it, and which I can't, and I could do now, but I'd be nauseous if I tried to do that now. So everyone's different. Everyone's metabolism is different, obviously. But I talked to women hikers on my hike, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, if you had a woman and a guy who, let's say they're the same weight, they weigh the same amount, they're carrying the same amount. They're hiking the same trail. Assuming they're consuming the same amount of calories, they should be losing the same amount of weight because you're burning the same amount of calories. So I don't understand why the women don't tend to lose as much of the weight as the men. I haven't figured that out. I don't know if they're converting body fat to muscle, and muscle
I've heard that
weighs
that
more,
Mm-hmm.
and so muscle weighs more, so they're not losing the weight. They're just converting the fat to muscle more than the guy. But I lost muscle on the trail too. I mean, I was losing both. So that was my concern, was I'm going to be too weak to finish. So that's when I started with a protein supplement. So that's always an option, taking the protein supplements. And I found that it really made me nauseous in the morning, taking like a 30 grams of protein shake and then eating another 30-gram protein bar, getting 50, 60 grams of protein all in one shot. It was just, that would turn my stomach. So for me, it was better to spread it out during the day. So I guess you'll have to figure that out as you go, what works for you. You know, some things don't taste good after a while. Like I had banana chips and M&Ms and stuff in my trail mix, and after a while I'm like, I just don't want dried fruit. I don't want chocolate right now. It just didn't appeal to me. Other than chocolate like in a Snickers bar, that was fine. But so yeah, you're just gonna have to figure it out when you're out there.
Yeah, even on a 5-day hike, I'm a little worried because even on a 5-day hike, I lost my taste for nut butters, and I just didn't want to see another Triscuit with nut butter on it. But I've pre-gamed with a ton of Skippy in packets, so I'm going to be eating it whether I want it or not for a while.
I had a mix. I had peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, and I'm thinking, just some variety, but I always came back to the peanut butter. Just, it spreads better, it tastes better, it's cheaper, it's just, to me, it was all around better. I grew up on peanut butter sandwiches. I ate peanut butter sandwiches every day when I was, from the age of 5 to about the age of 18. Pretty much every day for lunch I had a peanut butter sandwich. So, I love peanut butter. But any event.
Hope I do too.
Yeah, so I guess we'll find out along the way, and you can change things on the fly. You can always just say, "Hey, I'm sick of the peanut butter. Send me something different," and I'll send you something different. But it's all about that's part of the experience, part of the adventures, figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens.
All right. Any last thoughts before we go? My first guest, Don.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yes. You're welcome.
You don't really have a choice.
We'll be back after this commercial. Johnny, play her out. No.
I appreciate the intro, and I'm excited you're going to be editing my videos. I will say up front, even though you'll be editing, I apologize in advance. My videos aren't going to be as good as his.
Well, we don't know, but
I don't know. We'll see, but I appreciate your patience.
She has the newer version of the Google Pixel, so great camera on it. I've showed her how to use that a little bit. It takes some. It does take some practice. It took me 2-3 weeks before I kind of got it down, how to hold it and where to shoot it and which mode to put it in and all of that. Yeah. But I also have a background. My undergrad degree was in film, so I have some of that under my belt.
And I'm an accountant, so I mean, it's not looking good.
And the editing, so I can think about what kind of shots I was going to need to edit it together in my head as I was doing stuff. So it made it a little easier for me. So we'll see what she comes up with. I'm sure I'll be giving her a lot of pointers like, hold the phone farther away, or you need to talk louder, or
stop crying in the camera.
Give me some cutaway shots, point of view of you walking down the trail and stuff like that. So I guess
funny. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that part too of getting a little more familiar with that. And I've noticed my one friend Lucky P, I like a lot of her, and you did this a lot too, but I like seeing them, the hikers on the camera, but I like when she's hiking and you can see her point of view too of the trail, and I know you did that a lot. So
well, I didn't do as much because usually I had to pick like a smooth part of the trail to shoot video. Like when it's the most interesting part of the trail, that's when you can't be holding your camera because it's dangerous and you're climbing rocks, you're lowering yourself down, precipices and things. So
attempting to preserve the adventure is an adventure in and of itself. That we will figure it out, but thank you for doing that for me.
Yep, and my only advice there is shoot more footage, err on the side of caution by shooting more than you think you need, because we can always edit things out. If you don't shoot it, there's nothing there to shoot. And then shoot people if people agree. I didn't shoot very much people. I felt weird about that, having to say, hey, can I put you on my video? Some people are like, hey, I don't want to be on your channel or whatever. So, but at least take photos, take selfies with people.
That is advice I've heard from several people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and then luckily the yearbook's coming out, and I'll be able to see people's photos. But I did get selfies with most of the people I spent a lot of time with. But there were a few people I'm like, boy, I should have got a selfie with that person. I was like that, and also the hostel owners.
Yeah.
You know, take a picture of the hostel from the outside. So you have, you know, here's me in front of the hostel, and then here's me with the hostel owner. I did that a few times, not as much as I should have, but it's a good habit to get into. You know, the people along the way.
Yes.
Because there's only so many valleys you can take pictures of. You know, they all start to look the same. It's like, where was it? Was that Tennessee or North Carolina? No, wait, that was Vermont. You know, you're like, okay, it's a valley with trees and there's a lake, and it's, I don't know where that was. So,
and it's the community. The people make the community that
that
make it the trail.
That's your memories: is the people you meet and the hostels you stay in, and the places you eat. You know, if you go out to a restaurant with some of the other hikers, you go to a brewery or something. Those are those fun moments. You take a lot of selfies there, and those are the times you remember. You don't remember necessarily, you know, a particular length of trail unless it's, you know,
epic.
An epic section. I mean, I do remember, like, I'll watch other people's videos. I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly where they are. Like, oh yeah, I remember going across that ridge. Oh, I remember walking down that part of the trail or whatever. Yeah, the members. So yeah, the people, the hostels, and to me, the little things along the trail, like the insects and the mushrooms. To me, that was cool. You know, seeing a cool mushroom and taking a picture of it, or see a snail, or a weird caterpillar, or butterflies. So, you know, people who are hiking, you know, 25, 30-mile days are blowing past a lot of that stuff. And for me, I was seeing it because I was going slower and I was taking breaks, and I would look around when I was on a break. So just some things to think about.
One thing I wanted to say, my biggest fear is literally a tick. The ticks. And I know a lot of people say that too, but we have ticks around here, and I think I'm pretty prepared as much as I can be for that. But I'd rather, you know.
Yeah, ticks are more.
They'll ruin you. I mean, not ruin you. They'll cause issues potentially. Chronic, but.
Yeah, ticks are probably more problematic than bears, frankly. So that's definitely high on the list of concerns.
Yeah.
And.
But prepared, so it is what it is.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. It's been great having you here, and it's been great having Ultra here. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of her coming up very soon. Probably by, like I said, probably late April is when I'll start getting videos uploaded. So we'll just see how it goes. It also depends on her being able to connect to a Wi-Fi so that her photos will upload, and photos and videos can upload, and then I can pull them down and edit them and then post them to YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. Might be some kinks to work out early on, so be patient. But I'm thinking late April. By the end of April, hopefully I'll have a process figured out. We'll start getting those videos out there for you. So, all right.
Thanks, Jedi.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for being here, Ultra. And we'll see you on the next episode of Hike Over the Hill. Bye.
Bye, guys.
You want to go in your pen?
Oh.